cover with you, but give me one little pause to make sure that we are checking the chat box here on YouTube, making sure that we've got everybody covered in case they fire off any questions. And definitely do feel free to fire off any questions if any of you guys listening to us do have anything to ask about what we are doing here at Edge or just in general about the crypto space.
Right on.
Yeah, so today we're going to talk about Zcash. Although it's a currency we don't yet support, we're definitely in a lot of conversations with them to get good native private support for Zcash into Edge, but we like to keep track of what the different blockchains are doing in the space. And as well, we're once again talk about a currency we actually do support, Bitcoin Gold, how it has now gone through its
third attack.
Third 51% attack.
Yeah, two of them being just last week.
Yeah, and try to understand a little bit more about how that happened and how easily it can happen. And also, especially for users out there that are accepting any of these cryptocurrencies, how to make yourself at least a little bit less vulnerable to a 51% attack or get impacted by a 51% attack. So let's cover that first, actually. So RJ, you were a miner a while back.
Yeah.
You mined a few different altcoins and Bitcoin. And so I'll kind of hand it off to you to kind of, let's cover this 51% attack. How could this have actually happened?
Yeah, so a 51% attack is, for those that don't know what it is, it's when the miners have most of the hashing power, in this case 51%, and when they have that much control, they can potentially double spend transactions. And what they would do is they could send some coins to an exchange and maybe convert it to a different kind of coin, and then by the time it's confirmed, they may have double spent it somewhere else and run off with the funds. And if Bitcoin Gold, for example, or a different coin reverses it, the attacker already got off with other coins that they exchanged at, like say Bitstamp or whatnot.
So basically they send coins to an exchange, convert them, wait for them to confirm, whatever number of confirmations an exchange waits,
Yes.
and then withdraw the funds, and then reverse the chain, basically unwind the chain and remove that transaction that sent money to the exchange. And of course, the funds that they're going to remove are probably going to be in a different currency, probably Bitcoin or some other currency. But what exactly does it mean, or how do they accomplish this attack? Like, what do you do if you wanted to do this attack? And how do we determine that you'll even be profitable? Because the entire theory of
it is
Bitcoin,
expensive.
It is expensive. You have to expend money in order to mine blocks.
Yeah.
And those blocks that you've mined, if they go against what other people have mined, in theory, shouldn't be approved.
Right.
Right. So how are these attackers effectively, successfully mining and reversing transactions?
Right. So there's a couple of ways. So one is just outright buy all the equipment and have enough equipment and mining to get that amount of hash rate, or another is to just purchase the hash rate. So NiceHash, for example, if you look at their site, it's a way. So NiceHash is a website where you can buy hashing power for different coins, and you get paid, for the coins that you're mining or you're renting out. And with Bitcoin Gold, they have approximately 47% of the needed hashing power. So you could theoretically buy about 47% of the hashing rate through NiceHash, and then whatever else external mining hash rate that you have, that would lead to 51%. And you could then, potentially double spend and get that amount.
So just because you have 50% of the hash rate, what are you doing to the network in order to do a double spend?
Right, you're controlling the transactions, so double spending.
So the double spend capability is enabled by a user actually mining a bunch of blocks.
Yeah, and then they can pick which transactions are...
And picking which transactions they want valid in that, but mining them separately from the current mining pool of publicly known miners.
Right.
So you may have hundreds of people mining, and they're mining a chain, such as on Bitcoin Gold, and say they're on block 500,000.
Yeah.
Right. They've mined up to block 500,000, and what an attacker can do, if they have more than the entire hashing power of the network, is they can now start mining block 500,001, 500,002, but not actually publish it.
Right.
Meaning they're mining these blocks separate from the rest of the network.
Yeah.
But mining them faster than the full network of, for example, Bitcoin Gold. And if a miner hits block 500,010 before the rest of the network hits 500,010, they can then publish their 10 blocks in a row.
Yeah, so they're 10 blocks ahead, and Bitcoin Gold is 10 minutes? It is 10 minutes, so that's potentially 100 minutes.
So they would basically be mining 100 minutes worth. In this example of 10 blocks, they'd have to mine 100 minutes worth of blocks in a faster time than it takes for the rest of the network to mine 9 to 10 blocks. So say about 9 blocks. And once you publish that, the network will say you now have the longest chain, and move over to your chain and discard the 9 blocks that the rest of the network saw, because now it's really a rule of longest, strongest chain.
Yeah, the longest chain.
So let's analyze a little bit about how much that costs. So how much would it cost? Let's see, in this attack on Bitcoin Gold, how many blocks did they actually unwind?
Yeah, so let's see. So right now to do an attack, it costs, according to NiceHash, and this tool, what is this called? Crypto 51, that app, it's where you can see how much theoretically it would cost to do 1 hour of an attack. So for example, it would cost $839 to do an hour of an attack compared to Bitcoin, which is nearly $700,000.
Let's define that hour. So an hour of an attack meaning how much hash power does the entire Bitcoin Gold network just have on a regular basis?
Yeah, so right now it has 2 megahashes.
About 2 megahashes. And then what is the cost to on NiceHash to actually rent 2 megahashes? Or let's just say 3 megahashes, because you want to rent more than the network currently has.
Yeah, so there's a lot of variables in the marketplace, but like for example, you could rent out 0.91 bitcoins for looks like 0.0057 msols. So it varies quite a bit, but
let's take one snapshot example.
Okay, so 0.9102 for the price
0.9102
per
Bitcoin?
msol per day.
So 0.9102 msol, which is, what units is that? Is that a megahash of
Zcash.
of Zhash?
Yes,
So 0.9102 Bitcoin.
that's right.
Right, and Bitcoin right now is worth about 9,300. So let's just kind of round it down, about $9,000. Right, $9,000 to rent how many megahashes of hashing power on the Bitcoin Gold network?
Right.
How much is that? So how
Oh,
many?
that's
how many
per
megahashes?
msol per day.
So for 1 megahash in an entire day.
Yeah.
So 1 megahash of sorry, it's called
okay, so
it's called
that's how it
Zhash.
is.
I kind of confuse it with the mining of Zcash, the currency, but it's called Zhash, which is the mining algorithm for Bitcoin Gold. So it only costs you $9,000 to get 1 megahash. So that would be $18,000 to get about 2 megahash, and about $27,000 to get 3 megahash. So you could effectively mine the equivalent, more than the equivalent amount of the network, this hashing power, for about $27,000
$27,000
for an
a day.
entire day.
Yeah.
For an entire day, you would be 50% of the hash rate of Bitcoin Gold for $27,000 in one day.
But you still need a little bit more since we'll have 47%. That's if you run out.
Well, so you'll need more from some other location. So
Yeah.
NiceHash would only be able to provide 47% of the hash rate. But I'm just comparing mostly the cost, right? If the cost per hash, if you were to take the cost that is published on NiceHash and extrapolate that to 3 megahash, that would cost you about $27,000
with
a
an extra
day.
megahash, right?
Yeah, so it costs you $27,000 per day to equal the hashing. Actually, more than equal.
Yeah.
That's an estimate of 3 megahashes, whereas the entire network is only 2.5, 2?
2.
So for $27,000 a day, you could easily 51% attack the entire Bitcoin Gold network. And how many blocks?
And you
what's
would
the
also
block-
get the rewards as well.
You get rewards as well. What's
Yeah.
the block frequency of Bitcoin Gold?
Yeah,
at
so
this
similar
point?
to Bitcoin every 10 minutes.
Every 10
roughly.
minutes. So every 10 minutes, so you would have 10 minutes, 6 blocks in an hour, times 24, a few hundred blocks, almost 200 blocks in an entire day. Therefore, for $27,000, you could unwind Bitcoin Gold to about 200 blocks. So you can see how this is a compelling argument for an attacker to try this out. All right, sure, $27,000 is no small amount to sneeze at.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're depositing, say, $500,000 into an exchange, and then withdrawing $500,000, and the exchange is only waiting, say, 6 blocks, like
Yeah, or even 3 confirmations with like with some
confirmations,
exchanges.
exactly, then it could be very profitable, so long as they don't catch you because you might have KYC'd an account with an exchange.
Yeah.
But it's entirely possible. So this has happened now 3 times, and it potentially can happen more times.
Yeah, and I think let's see, going back in history, first time happened was $18 million, and that was in May of 2018.
Jeez.
And
right.
then the last two, both which happened on January 23rd, same day, for both of them. That was for 1,900 Bitcoin Gold, or about $23,000, and 5,267 Bitcoin Gold, or about $64,000.
Got it.
So
all
two
these
attacks on the
amounts,
same day.
and all these amounts are well above, or the first one about $23,000. They probably didn't even have to mine for an entire day. That's 200 blocks. And if
Yeah.
any exchange was waiting for 10, 20 blocks, then you'd only have to be mining for a few hours.
A fraction of that.
A fraction of a day. Exactly. So you can see how this easily can happen. And so now, what do users do if you're, well, obviously you're an exchange, you should know this stuff and have a whole team wrapped around the cost. But what should you do as an individual to understand how long to wait before you accept a payment definitive, especially if it's of relatively high value?
Right. So depending on how long the attack is going for, you might want to extend how much confirmations you have before accepting the payment, like thinking that it's good to go, because it might still be reversed.
So realize that this is independent of whether or not there's an attack going on. So it's not dependent on, well, is there an attack going on? It's simply that there's a certain amount of dollars of security that a network has every 10 minutes for every confirmation, specifically for coins that have 10-minute confirmations. And if what you're receiving in funds is at risk, it's always at risk, right? There's always a chance of it getting reversed. But you want what you're receiving to be lower than the amount of security that's gone into the network after some amount of confirmations.
Right.
And so we had determined that $27,000 of power could reverse the network, which is about 200 blocks on Bitcoin Gold. So if you're receiving $27,000 worth, then you're going to want to wait more than a day worth of confirmations.
Yeah, it makes sense, like relative to the cost.
Relative to the
securing
cost.
the network.
Exactly. Now, we did a lot of complicated calculations to determine that $27,000, and we had to go to nice hash, figure out what the rental rate
Yeah,
is.
there's other figures out there.
But there's a simple calculation. So what is effectively the cost to mine a network per hour or per day? There's kind of a simple way to calculate that.
Yeah, so we just multiplied it by the coin's price, times it by the hour, so in this case 6 blocks, and then times it by the reward of the blocks. In this case, Bitcoin Gold, it's 12.5, just like Bitcoin.
It's 12.5 coins per hour.
12.5 coins
Oh, so
per
per
10
block,
minutes.
per block, per
So then
block.
you multiply that by 6.
Got it. So 12.5 times 6, we're looking at about 70 plus coins.
And then let's just say you times it by $11, the market price.
So 70 plus about $700 per hour is how many, let me make sure I got that right. So we've got 12.5 per block, and coin price right now.
I just rounded at 11, then times it by 6, we get
About 11,
825.
so about 110 times 6, so it's $600, $700.
Okay.
So about $600 to $700 of mining rewards are generated by Bitcoin Gold per hour.
Right.
So in an hour, you have about $600 to $700 worth of security on the network.
Yeah.
So if you were to send about $100 of Bitcoin Gold, waiting an hour is pretty sufficient.
Right.
You're going to send more than that, you're going to want to wait a longer amount of time.
Yeah.
And that's a rough estimate based on and that is really what the cost of mining should trend towards.
Yeah.
Yes, there's rates of hashing, cost to rent hashes and whatnot, but generally speaking, those are going to be higher than the actual mining reward. They're potentially higher than the mining reward because of overhead costs and whatnot.
Right.
But they might be a little lower, might be a little higher, but they'll trend to be at that price. So simply knowing how many coins are mined every block and how many blocks are mined every hour will give you an idea of what your security level is. And you can even just not even convert it to dollars.
Yeah.
Right? You just say just pure coins.
Yeah, like how many coins do you receive every
How
block?
many? Exactly. Well, how many
Times.
coins are you receiving in a transaction?
Yeah.
So if I'm receiving 10 coins in a transaction, I want there to be more than 10 coins mined
Per
before.
block.
No, not even per block. More than 10 coins mined at all before I feel comfortable accepting that money.
Got it.
Right. So same sense in like Bitcoin, you're getting 12.5 coins mined per block.
Right.
So if I receive 12.5. If I receive 12.5 blocks of Bitcoin, coins,
Coins.
12.5 Bitcoins, then waiting 2 confirmations is sufficient because now 25 Bitcoins of security have been put into the network.
Yeah, because it's 12.5 per block. We're doing
Times
2
2 blocks.
confirmations or 2 blocks, 25.
Right. Now, not many people transact 12.5 Bitcoin.
Yeah.
right? That's several
decent
thousand,
amount.
$100,000. So a smaller amount of Bitcoin obviously can accept one confirmation.
Yeah.
In the case of Bitcoin Gold, it's also 12.5 coins per block, but each coin is worth so much less. So let's take one of these questions here by Salar Telly. They can reverse transactions as well, right? Approximately what's the cost of a 51% attack on the Bitcoin network? So
Okay.
that's the same question we're asking, but really it's not what's the cost of a 51% attack, but what's the cost of a 51% attack for how long?
Yeah.
For how long? So how many confirmations?
Right.
So easiest calculation, if just off the cuff of your head, is the cost is the number of Bitcoins that are mined every 10 minutes, every block.
Right.
So we had mentioned that every 10 minutes, approximately 12.5 Bitcoin are mined. Well, the cost of 51% attack the network then is a little bit over 12.5 Bitcoins every 10 minutes. If you could muster up that much money, 12.5 Bitcoin every 10 minutes, then you can 51% attack the network.
Right. And
It's
for
actually
Bitcoin,
pretty
it's
simple.
really pricey. So using the same calculation from Paul, so if you do for Bitcoin 12.5 coins, and we're just going to times it by 9,000 per Bitcoin, we're just going to round it,
Yeah.
and then times it by 6 blocks, for the hour, it's about $675,000.
Yeah, $600 to $70,000 to 51% attack Bitcoin for an hour.
Yeah, compared to Bitcoin Gold, what is it? It was 27,000 we said?
It's something like 27,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
And it was for a day.
and that 27,000 estimate though was calculated based on the cost to rent hashing power, which might be off. We might be off a little bit because the
Yeah.
rental market is very
There's a-
volatile.
Right.
Right. It's really, really volatile. But we can do that same calculation for the price of Bitcoin Gold. So the price of Bitcoin Gold right now is
Yeah, about $11. We can say maybe even just 10 around it.
$10 or $11. So that's easily almost
$750
$750
Yeah.
per hour.
per hour.
There you go. So about $750 per hour to attack Bitcoin Gold, but for Bitcoin, $800,000, $900,000.
Yeah.
So there you have it. Hopefully that answers your question, Salar Telly, on the YouTube chat. So cool. There goes a simple, once again, recap. For those of you that were listening, there's a lot of little math that we covered as far as determining how Bitcoin Gold got attacked. But the simple number to think of is just simply how many coins are mined per, say, hour on a network. And based on that, how many coins are you receiving? You want the amount of coins you are receiving to be less than the amount of coins that are mined for an equivalent amount of time.
Right.
So
For
that's
the
how long you
security.
wait. That's how long you wait. So if in an hour you get, say 100 coins worth of security, then waiting an hour for a 50 coin transaction is generally sufficient. That kind of gives you a high level of confidence. If someone wanted to attack a transaction to you, it would cost more than what they would be receiving. All right, so that's our little nugget on Bitcoin Gold, 51% attacks, and how you can protect yourself. Cool. Next up, Zcash.
Zcash.
Yeah, the new mining reward. Zcash has been what I call a very high-profile project. Got a lot of investor attention. DCG invested in the entire project, and also a lot of controversy.
Yeah, so this one I thought was fascinating. I like the fact that you can distribute the mining reward, and I guess supposedly they have by November of this year, the allocation of the mining rewards are going to be different. So they voted, there's consensus, right? And it's going to change. So right now, currently, 80% of the mining rewards go to the miners, and
Just normal proof of work.
Yep, and then 15% to the founders, investors, and other types, and 5% to Electric Coin Company. Do
Yep,
you
this
have
used to
the-
be called just kind of like the Zcash company or the Zcoin company, but now they've rebranded to the Electric Coin Company.
Electric Coin
So they're
Company.
the for-profit entity which took in venture capital investment.
Gotcha.
All right, and then effectively now are the main developer team around Zcash, and they get to collect some of the mining reward.
Nice.
And so to give you an idea of how much they're collecting, Zcash, as RJ had mentioned, takes 20% of the mining reward and gives 15% to the investors and founders,
Yes.
and 5% to the Electric Coin Company. Zcash has 2.5-minute blocks, and right now they're at 12.5 Zcash per block. And so doing some of these maths, some of the math here, you get 24 blocks per hour, and then you've got 24 hours in a day, you get 576 blocks per day, which now equates to 7,200 Zcash per day. Current price of Zcash is, what is that right now? Like
Yeah.
$66?
Yeah, it's gone up like double since last year.
Well, let's take the current price, although it's down from like all our 2017 all-time
Right,
highs,
since
obviously.
all time. So it's about $66.
So $66, and I was mentioning 7,200 blocks per day, which comes to about $475,000 per day that is effectively mined times 30 days. So we're just going to do a monthly calculation. So about $4 million at today's price of Zcoin is mined per day, and then effectively 5% of that goes to the electric coin company. All right, so it's a good chunk.
Yeah.
I think I calculated about
$712,000.
$712,000 is per month is
Per month.
effectively the revenue
For the
collected
electric.
by the electric coin company, and then 3 times that, so 2.1 million goes to founders and investors. So they've got a good business on their hands right now. But the original launch of Zcash, which all of this is, this reward is all baked into the protocol.
Yeah,
And it was specifically scheduled to end on November 2020.
right.
And with no further development funding in sight, meaning that, okay, well, if no more money went to the electric coin company or to any foundation, then developers would effectively be unpaid, at least the developers that were working through the company. Now, it's an open source protocol.
Right.
Like Bitcoin, Bitcoin doesn't give money to anybody to develop on the protocol, but
But it could one day if we
it could one day
voted for it.
which almost certainly will never happen. It's like when pigs have wings. Sure,
Yeah.
like I doubt Bitcoin will ever fork to add a developer fund for Bitcoin developers, unlike what is being proposed in the Bitcoin Cash community. So, with that kind of dilemma, there was a proposal which looks like is getting approved to still continue a developer fund for Zcash.
Right.
But they've decided to change the reward from 15.5 to now 7% to the electric coin companies. So they're actually going to get a good chunk more, 2% more, and then 5 to a new entity, the Zcash Foundation. So this is something unique and different. What's interesting about this is that's a new entity that wasn't at all on the kind of reward roadmap from before. But actually, what's more interesting is this 8% that's going now to other development projects.
Yeah.
Where this begs the question is, how do they determine?
Yeah,
which of
that
these-
was what I was going to ask next. How do
Yeah.
they determine like who gets it for the
who
developer
gets
funds?
the other funds? And this was the big question that came up in the Bitcoin Cash community. It's like, oh, okay, you say that there's this money that's going to go into other developers, but how you determine that? So this is a piece that actually I haven't seen incredible details about. If anyone does have further details on that, feel free to go ahead and chime in and post that up inside of the chat. But the governance will be the big question around this. Like, how are they going to take that extra set of funds and allocate them to other developers, what they do, and how does that match with both the foundation and the electric coin company? And at one point, does one say, well, why not make all of this to the foundation? Because a lot of the foundations in these coin projects are the ones that allocate the resources to the various developers. Right. And so, mainly, I'm still excited about Zcash. It has created some controversy, and not long ago, I think it was a year ago, Zcash was forked so that, or a proposal was made so that they would fork Zcash if Zcash opted to continue the developer fund. I can't remember the name of the project. I should have researched this a little bit, but there was a distinct proposal saying if they continued the developer fund, we would fork off.
Right.
To make sure that no more money is extracted from the miners. Because, as we talked about in the previous discussion about the 51% attack, your security is based on how many coins are mined.
Yeah. So if the miners are not going to be getting their cut,
Your
less
security is reduced. So you've reduced your security by 20%. Because the miners are the ones providing the security, and they're only getting 80% of the cut. You therefore have only 80% of the total coins.
Right.
Not the total coins mined as security, it's the total coins that are mined given to the miners.
Yeah.
So one could argue, yes, we want to have full 100% of the coins going into the security of the network and less into the development. That's arguable, right? Development's important.
Yeah.
But we'll see whether or not the proposed fork actually goes ahead and takes place come November 2020. Because at that time is when all comes to a head, and full nodes, miners, will actually have to run new nodes. This would be a hard fork. It's a pretty
or else it'll be
significant
invalid.
change to the proposal. So we'll see what happens when that time arises. But in the meantime, Zcash continues as is. I've interfaced with the Zcash team, or the Electric Coin Company, and they're a bunch of sharp folks. We are excited about getting support for full private Zcash transactions. We haven't supported the non-private because it wasn't as interesting. But we're looking forward to supporting the full private transactions and enable people to buy, sell, and trade without having a trace of their kind of prior transactions on the blockchain.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's it. If you guys have any questions, definitely ping us and let us know.
Right on.
Cool. So just a few minutes left in our broadcast.
We can talk about upcoming events, or maybe...
We'll talk about upcoming events. Let's actually talk about our most recent release.
Okay.
Recent release, we just added support for great new support for buy, sell, and trading. Obviously, that is our definition of our product.
Yeah, so we have our new update, 1.11.4, that was recently, that went out. There is support with, I believe, Apple Pay in the United States, so that was a big one. And then there's a new redesign of our UI. Let us know how you like it. You'll notice that in the buttons, the buy, sell is a lot more accessible, if you will.
Yep, you can buy, sell right from the bottom tab bar. We're driving people right to the core functionality of Edge, which is, a self-custody exchange, letting people buy, sell, and trade without giving up control of their funds.
Right on. And not to worry, you can still find the send button. Just tap on your wallet, and then you'll see the request or send button, and that's how you send. So it's still there.
Yep, we still work as a wallet, send to anyone you like all around the world. Still self-custody. You're not going through us to send your transactions, but really driving people to the functionality of an exchange without having to deposit your money into an actual exchange. And then, as RJ kind of glossed over, we've had support for Apple Pay for quite some time, thanks to our partner MoonPay.
Yes.
But for the first time now, we support it here in the U.S.
Right.
Where I'm finally able to use it. I'm based over here. I've got a U.S. credit and debit card linked to my my Apple Pay functionality on my phone. So just a couple taps gets you some Bitcoin, decent limits, about $2,000 a day, and you get it pretty quickly within a few minutes usually. So I've tried it, worked great. Hats off to our partner MoonPay. Thanks for getting that supported here in the U.S. It's covered in most states, but not all. So feel free to just give it a try inside of MoonPay, and they'll let you know whether or not your state is supported. And we look forward to supporting more countries and more states coming up. So if you want to be kept abreast of the new functionality on buy, sell, and trading, do tune in every Friday, and we'll give you an update on what's going on. We've got some exciting updates coming in the next few weeks. So for those of you that have been listening or watching our Twitter account, we do a word of the day every single Friday.
A chance to win some sats.
Yeah, some stacked $20 worth of sats into your Bitcoin wallet. So we'll recap. What do you have to do to win?
Yeah, so you got to follow us on Twitter. You got to retweet the tweet that we have out, and then also take a screenshot or a picture of your Edge QR code.
All right, so the tweet that we have out, specifically the tweet that mentions the word of the day coming up this week.
Yep.
All right, so take that tweet, retweet it out, and then once you hear the word of the day, reply to that tweet with the word of the day. If you're the first one to reply to it with your screenshot of your QR code from Edge, we'll go ahead and send you $20 worth of Bitcoin.
Right on.
So stack those sats. And once again, the word of the day, go for it, RJ.
Nimble Wimble.
Mimblewimble, yes. Great, cool, new, privacy, exciting technology. Not that we have it integrated, but we like the word. So therefore, that's our word of the day.
Yeah.
Go ahead and post it up and win $20 worth of Bitcoin.
Yeah,
cool.
go for it. Spell it right.
Spell it right. Spelling does count. So if you don't know what it is, look it up and spell it right, because it would suck to lose with someone just coming right after you and spelling it right.
Yeah,
That
and
would
include a screenshot too.
You got to remember to include a screenshot, otherwise, where do we send money?
Yeah.
Right? We
Don't
send
don't
money
just
over
say the
Twitter.
word.
Don't just say the word. Yeah. So we don't send money over Twitter. We want real, on-chain, censorship-resistant transactions. So send us your QR code. And then last but not least, yes, events.
Yeah.
So where are we headed?
Yeah, was it there the unconfiscatable
Unconfiscatable.
event, 2020, and a few other ones?
Exactly. So
Yeah.
we are for sure, at least not we, one of our folks, so Jess, Painful Human on Twitter, our controller, will be over at
It's in Vegas, I think.
Unconfiscatable in Las Vegas.
Okay.
This is Tone Vase's conference. A lot of the big Bitcoiners are going to be out there, so go check out the event, and feel free to say hi to Jess if you happen to see her over there. And after that, we're also going to be over at Bitcoin 2020 in San Francisco. This is by BTC Media, the owners of Bitcoin Magazine. So we'll be wandering the halls and maybe have a a booth or a desk over at the after party. So a table that you guys can check out at the after party. So looking forward to that. And let us know if you have any opinions on where we should be going. What are some great meetups around the world? What are some great communities that we can connect with? Cool. All right. So we got one person saying, Sir Joshua Wimble, ? Mimble Wimble.
Yeah. Nimble Wimble.
Mimble Wimble. So that's the word of the day. Go ahead and post that up on Twitter and win $20.
Yeah.
So until next time.
Yep. Not your coins, not your keys, not your coins.
Not your keys, not your coins. Not your coins if they're not your keys.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks a lot, everybody. Take
Bye,
care.
guys.